right. Hello. Well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of This Is Why I'm Sober. My name is Chris Kelly, and Abby was unable to join this week. So I am very happy and proud to introduce our guest host this week, a gentleman by the name of Aaron West, coming out of Austin, Texas, comedian, art dealer, antique model, all around Renaissance man. And so just to give a little bit of background, Aaron and I, by happen chance, were roommates for a couple of years back in the early 20 teens, and definitely during some pretty significant party days. So we actually just by chance through our sobriety reconnected a little while ago on Facebook, and it's the first time we've actually seen each other since 2013. And man, hey, dude, you're looking great, man. You haven't changed. But so Aaron, welcome to This Is Why I'm Sober. Super appreciate you being here today. Just go ahead and tell us about yourself a little bit before we get into the meat and potatoes.
So we get down to dinner, huh? Yeah, I'm Aaron West. I've known Chris for 14 years, but only really for one full year that we had the pleasure of living with each other in Greeley, Colorado. It was a pretty wild year. It was definitely when we both were young and dumb. Now I'm just older and dumb, but a little drier. We used to give it hell every night when we were living in a college town, northeastern Colorado, where there's nothing to do. But you're either working at the meat processing factory, you're going to school, or you're just a shitbird in between. And that was kind of us, I feel. He was going to school, he was doing something, but I was really just, skating by, cigarette butt one at a time. So, but since then, I moved back to North Carolina, and my partying kind of really escalated back there, and now I'm living in Austin, Texas, and 5 years sober, getting back into doing comedy. I do a lot of like furniture and painting and antique art reselling, and that keeps me really busy. That and a full-time job, and so it's definitely, Texas is a pretty big place. Austin's really very welcoming, and it's a little more worldly than the rest of the state, so you get a lot of people from all over. So good spot to kind of, I got legit sober here 5 years ago, and so it's of all places to kind of wake up. I'm pretty happy it happened here. I could have come to in Detroit. I could have been like, oh man, that was a crazy couple of years, and then be like, oh shit, this sucked. So I'm pretty happy with where, to literally come to, it's a good spot to be. Nothing against Detroit. It's fantastic.
Well, no, Detroit's fantastic, but Austin, eclectic and definitely welcoming for all people of everything and levels of sobriety.
So, for sure, and it's safe. It's a good spot to be.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Well, hey, first of all, 5 years, man. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thanks.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
gets easier, Definitely, I imagine for you as well, you kind of know, and over time, it just becomes part of the routine again.
Mm-hmm.
But in a healthy way, where you actually see progress in your life, and you're regaining relationships, making new relationships, and actually being present. That's really why, because you don't think about it, but years fly by. Like my 20s, it's people remind me of things. That's great. But for the most part, I was not there, and I'm, and some people don't make it out of that. So it's awesome to have made it out of that. And if my only qualm is that I have a loss of memories from those years, then like, that's not the worst. I could have been in prison. I could have had a lot of terrible things happen. I could be dead. And so I'm lucky and blessed enough to have gotten out of it as far as I have, at least. So
hell yeah, man.
Nothing to show but dumb tattoos and
and a mansion full of artwork.
It is quite a man. It's 400 square feet, folks.
It doesn't feel
I'm,
it.
if I turn, my nose will hit each wall.
Well, the ambiance is like 400,000 square feet.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, man. Awesome. Super happy for you. Really glad that we're reconnecting. And yeah, so I guess, since you're here, we'll start up. I mean, one of the things, and I don't know how new you are to like our brand or our podcast or whatever, but like, it's called This Is Why I'm Sober, right? I mean, and I'm like wearing the question or wearing the statement like right here, right? So the thing that people ask me the most is like, so bro, why are you sober, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, gosh,
I
it
was going to ask
changes
you that,
like
bro.
yeah, or I do too. Yeah, it changes every day, right? Like some days it's just the fact that I'm sitting here alive, you know, turning oxygen to carbon dioxide and upright. Other days it's when I'm super present for my kid. Other days it's when I'm able to, go just walk about my life, clear and present and But this morning, for instance, like I woke up and it just happened to be right at 8 o'clock, and it was Saturday morning, and for some reason I just had this thought go through my head that like 8 o'clock was such an important like hour of the day. 8 a.m. was such an important hour of the day for me for decades, because that's when the liquor stores opened, right? And I just happened to be thinking about that, and then just serendipitously, I'm like on Facebook, just kind of scrolling, and somebody on one of the sober pages that I follow had posted something like, "Hey, sober, here's the sober Saturday. Like, I didn't wake up with a hangover. I didn't wake up with like no memories from last night. I didn't wake up with somebody mad at me. Like, I'm super blessed." And I actually responded. I rarely ever respond to these, but I like responded. I was like, "Yeah, I agree, all that stuff." But even more so for me, it's, here's what I'm grateful for, you know, not waking up at 7 in the morning, sneaking out, like still drunk, sneaking out,
Yeah.
driving drunk to the liquor store, waiting in the parking lot, like shaking and like puking, like, waiting for 8 a.m. and then getting into the drive through, picking up a couple of half pints, and then like swinging back behind in the alley and like trying to like
Yeah.
drink, and it's like splashing on me and stuff because I'm just shaking so bad. And then like
Mm.
finally after a few minutes of like getting that under control, like literally just like crying, like bawling my eyes out. And it's like I just want a fucking different life. Like I can't do this. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it
Yeah.
was every fucking day. And it's just how my routine started every single day.
How many years
And
was that?
what's up?
How many years was it at that point?
I
Because that
mean,
might
I
have been
probably,
post. I think that was after I left Colorado. I think.
yeah, I mean, this is when I mean, I had definitely like been to liquor stores at 8 a.m., like for, but in this context, it was really like probably like the 2 years prior to the first stint I did in rehab. And then definitely for that 7 months that I was like, that had relapsed.
Mm.
I mean, I mean, that 7 months after I relapsed, it was like, I had to drink a half pint every 2 hours max, or else I would
Well,
like start to seize up and like I was thrown up and shaking. Like it was horrible. But like, like that was my morning 8 a.m. routine, right? Every single day. And,
mm.
so me sitting here in my bed, like with my like fucking cats laying on me and like, strolling in the comfort of my bed, like, the sun's coming in and I'm just like in Facebook. And I'm like, and I just said to myself, I'm just like, dude, this is why I'm sober. Like
Yeah.
this is the routine that I should have lived as a like a normie or whatever for my whole life, but it just wasn't it. But
Mm.
because of those experiences, I can truly cherish these kind of mornings even more so now. You know what I mean? And so just with that thought in my mind, man, I guess I'll just ask you very, very bluntly, like, Aaron, why are you sober?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a big part of it was just being so depressed. I can't say I was never, everyone has different bottoms, and low points, and for me, I just for years of trying to quit and not being able to quit, waking up and telling yourself like, I'm not gonna get. All right, I'll go out tonight, but I'm not gonna get blackout drunk. Like I'm tonight, I'm gonna drink like a normal person, or
Hmm.
and every day letting yourself down, waking up and having no clue what you did the night before, looking at using like you should never be using your bank statements for like GPS, you know? And like 100% I was. Like and I joke with people that for stints of time for like 6 months on end, I would joke that like my name was Wells Fargo customer card because like I didn't know where the hell my card was. They'd show up in the mail, I'd start tabs at bars and like, yeah, we don't have an Aaron West, and I'd be like, it's the temporary card. I'm the guy who fell asleep in the bathroom, like, so it's just kind of like just doing that for years, and like the gimmick gets old, and when you think about people that it's so fun when you live that lifestyle, like briefly it is, like it's a romantic idea. It's not a if you could do that, and if you could do that dance once a month, congratulations, but when it's an everyday thing you don't have control over, the big thing that I always tell people is like, especially I've always worked in service industry and mainly in very touristy areas, is for those people, they're on vacation,
Yeah.
and you go out with them and you're having fun, and guess what, they leave and the next night you're going out, you're doing that every single night. Like I've got a good buddy who he always he's like, I used to go hard, but not hard like you, man. Like I'd go hard when I was with you, but then I think 5 days out of the week when I wasn't out with you, you were out there. Like,
Yeah.
you were still going through those motions. And so when it comes to like relationships, when it comes to people that are around enough to be like, oh wow, this is just like what you do every day, and feeling kind of not like you're letting them down, but you kind of feel like you're suddenly very isolated from people around you because you're not, it's not like get up and have lunch. It's not go do this. It's how am I going to get from here to blackout? Because I
Hmm.
didn't drink for any other reason. I
Hmm.
didn't want to drink the, the first few drinks. I'm present, but then, it's just like, as they say, like off to the races, you're just like slugging them, and just for me, I was just chain smoking cigarettes and just you do that for years and years and years, and you wake up and you keep telling yourself, and you keep arguing like, I don't have a problem, I'm going to switch from, like, for me, I was convinced that I was just blacking out because it was hard liquor, so I was a wino for like 6 months, just like I'm just going to drink wine. And it's like,
Classy.
yeah, then yeah, you're just you pretty much are just the for me it was the exact same thing, I just was more sleepy. Just like, um, but yeah, I think a lot of it for me was just like just being so, it's the saying of like you're sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
and waking up day and feeling like you're really isolated again, like you're really alone. And then you actually, when you do open up to people who either themselves have suffered with addiction or have close family or partners who have suffered with it, you realize like you're not alone at all, like in what you were feeling.
Yeah.
Like we're all um, you know um, you're in your own seat, but everyone else is in their car, kind of on the same mission. Like everyone's doing a similar route, but you feel so isolated sometimes. And so when I would open up to people, like, yeah, I kept telling myself like, I'm never going to do this again. And then every night I'm losing I'm breaking my phone, I'm drunk, I'm falling out of Ubers, I'm embarrassing myself. And so yeah, I think it just caught up to me. I got so sick and tired of it that I told myself like, either like you're gonna kill yourself or you're gonna quit altogether. And so here I am. I just after going to rehab and trying that out, and it was 100% it helped. But then once I moved down here, Austin's a really fun spot, and it's very young based. I mean, I joke with people that um, at 40 everyone dies here.
Hmm.
Like you don't see anyone walking down the street who's over 40. Everyone here is young, and it's just a tech town, and it's the culture is everything's happy hour culture. It's a lot of people, they either go to Vegas or they go to Austin for like bachelorette parties. So it's people kind of living that really weekend warrior lifestyle. So when I moved here straight from rehab, it was like, I think I've got this. Oh, and then like boom, 3 years of like, no, you don't, dumbass. So yeah,
Yeah.
after those 3 years of and I've been heavily drinking since I was 19, and then anything that was around I would do,
Yeah.
anything that would amplify my drinking, anything that could make me drink more or make me seem more awake and chipper, I was happy to partake in.
Yeah.
Um, And so years of doing that, you just get tired, you know. And so I'm lucky that I got tired before I, got,
Yeah,
you know,
really, really,
I,
really tired.
yeah, I took a real long nap. Uh, so I think that's it. I remember like waking up and uh, of all the days, it's January 1st to be like, okay, buddy, like you've been saying you're going to quit for a long time, and every time I did quit, it was harder and harder to do. Until the last time I had taken a break was when I went to rehab and was up there for 6 months, and then after that, I was, yeah, I hit the gas real hard, and I'd take a couple of days off. But it's like the couple of days off were like, well, I feel better. I can probably drink, and then boom, 6 months go by. It's like
Yes.
it really is. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Looper, um, but it's similar to that.
Tell me more,
concept.
Aaron, about the movie Looper.
Well, there's this movie called Looper.
Okay.
Got Bruce Willis and the kid from Third Rock from the Sun. Long hair, Gordon Chevy Shovitz, whatever. Yeah. And there was a time in my life when Redbox was a real big thing, and there was a 7-Eleven near our house in Greeley, and I think every night for probably a week, I was trashed, and I would stop in that 7-Eleven because that was pretty much my only sustenance for life was a hot dog or a taquito at 3 a.m.
Yep.
And they had a Redbox front, and I would rent the movie Looper, and I would come home and ask if you wanted to see it. None of this do I remember, and you would say, I think the first time you watched it with me, I imagine you watched it with me the first time.
Yeah.
And then it kept happening like every day. And then and the next day I had no clue because you were returning the movie for me. So I'd wake up, there's no DVD on the counter. And then that night I go out partying and I'm like, oh, Looper, that looks good. And I take it out of the red box, come home, we're watching Looper. But yeah, I mean, you do get in the cycle. You do get in, and that's like clearly like a comical thing that happened. There's people who have it much worse, but you do get in that cycle. And finally, you get sick and tired of it, and it's either something drastic's going to happen. And for me, I'm happy that the drastic thing that happened was just abstinence altogether from alcohol. And, at the beginning, I was going to a lot of meetings, and that's super helpful just to even be around people again that are experiencing what you're feeling, because it is scary. You go from every single day doing the exact same thing to suddenly not doing that. And, at the beginning, you do really need to focus on avoiding people, places, and things. So like you're not going in those bars, and you're thinking about like, the whole FOMO thing is kind of hysterical. Because at first that gets a lot of people back into drinking, I used to always blame it on like, on like girls or, someone wanted to go out and drink, and I'm like, okay. But that FOMO gets a lot of people. But I'm super happy that nowadays, like, there's nothing ever going on past 9 o'clock that I care at all for. Yeah, there's just, there's nothing out there worth a quick buzz, because it doesn't just stop there for me. It's, if I'm lucky enough to have gotten out of it as I was, then next time, why would I be so lucky,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
excellent.
Football, that's kind of what you were.
Yeah, man. No, it's absolutely. So I have a couple follow-up questions for you. Well, a follow-up statement, first of all, with the Looper situation. I think it was more like a month.
I've heard of it.
Have you seen that movie?
Oh, good. That's weird. It's like I was drinking the whole time.
I know, right? Yeah, so it was like a month, I would say. And I think that I watched it at least half of those times with you. But I'll be honest with you, I don't remember the movie. So,
no.
I mean, I remember returning them the next day because I was like, oh, my poor little buddy's not going to. I don't want him to get a late fees to return it, and then it's back in the DVD player. And most of the time, I'd wake up.
It's possible those late fees could have sparked my recovery.
Yeah.
Let me have late. That would have turned around.
The
Why'd
funny
you get
thing,
sober? Red box.
I was avoiding late fees, Looper. But to even add another layer of the because we were both living that Looper lifestyle while watching Looper on a looping basis, and then I would come down in the mornings, just feeling like absolute just shit, usually pretty buzzed. And I was heading off to school in the morning, and almost every night for that month, I'd come down and you'd be on the couch, passed out, and then the title screen of Looper is looping.
Oh yeah.
It's like there were so many layers of loopers going.
Just inception of debauchery.
Yes, yes. But anyway, so
That's the worst.
I'm
Those
sorry.
days when like even when DVDs were like still a thing, you know, and that stupid DVD play, it would like go over, and you would like hear it, and then you'd wake up and like I'm sure later in life they're gonna be like, if you ever fell asleep while watching Friday, like because it's always a couple clips from the movie and then like a
Yeah,
car screeching.
yeah. And then it just like, and then a hard stop, and then it starts the cycle again.
Yep, and then it starts back up.
And you're just like laying on in the couch, and you can hear it over and over, but you're just like, I can't move. I can't. There's nothing I can do about this. I have to accept this. Oh my lord.
That's wild. I didn't know that was a full month, but I'm glad to
I would
know what.
I would say it was probably pretty close to the month that Looper was highlighted in the red box at the 7-Eleven on 9th and 9th and Greeley.
I mean, if all I saw from it in all those days was just the DVD cover, then they did pretty good. Because it was that alluring that with all the options, I was like, "That's the one."
This is it.
Relish
Like,
on the button.
yeah, and like I could just imagine you going on like day 27 and being like, Looper, I heard that's good, but I've never seen it.
Let's do Looper. Yeah, that one looks good.
Oh my god!
I heard that people working there were like smoking cigarettes. Like, oh, that kid, that's a different Looper kid. He gets pissed if it doesn't happen too. He doesn't realize he's got the copy on his fucking kitchen table.
Oh Lord, yes. God, those were the days, man. Those were some days.
They were days for some people.
Yeah.
Oh, to have witnessed.
Oh yeah, I know, right? To be a fly on that wall while we were living at that place. So I got a question for you because you did the rehab thing. Obviously, it worked, but it didn't stick. Obviously, Austin's a really tough environment to maintain sobriety in. After
Initially,
the
it was like,
okay, so I got two questions for you. So before you like relapse, like in that time period after rehab and while you were maintaining some sobriety, what were some of the things that like led you to want just going and taking that 3 year like binge? And then the second question is, what was it like? What was the day, or what was going through in your life when you were like, "Fuck this, I'm done"? Like after that 3 year bender.
uh, so when I moved here, I think I lasted 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I went to rehab up in Pennsylvania, middle of winter. When I got there, it was July, and and I stayed up there until February, and it was it was great. It was like exactly what I needed. I needed to leave the small town I was in. I was working at a brewery where alcohol was plentiful and ABV was above 8% on most beers. And when you know everybody that works at the bar, you normally don't pay for anything.
Nope.
And so I just, it was just a terrible atmosphere for me because my personality is one that like I'm gonna go 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 go. And if the go 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 is free, then nothing's stopping me. If there's no red box fees, I'm good. And it was so rehab was great. It really was. Like I was lucky enough to I left the facility itself and went into I believe the first one was a sober living home, which I believe has like the stricter rules. And what was odd about it was there's 12 of us living in this house, and I've always lived on, I've always like worked, save more money just to live alone. I when I was, ever since it wasn't you, it was me. But, when we lived together, that was one of my last roommates, was when we lived together. And then my cousin for a little while I was trying to figure things out when I first moved to Asheville. But, I then lived alone, and, that was kind of good for, at least people wouldn't have been able to live with me, I don't think. So when I was up there after rehab, here I am with 12 roommates in a house that only had one working toilet. And I don't know, it's very humbling, and you're like, it was pretty intense. And that went from there to, I then moved into recovery house, which was like a little more lax. But in these houses, I was like, for the first time ever meeting like, people who are there because of like due to like incarcerations, people who they may be in there for violent crimes or for like, high drug offenses and things that, I'm a little dandy boy, like I've lived like a little rainbow life, everything's been super easy, gumdrops for me. And
Yeah.
so it was like very like eye opening to be around people, who are built a little tougher than me. Like I cut these sleeves off on purpose. And so it was like eye opening to be, around a type of people who are going through the same thing that I am, but have had, more struggles than I have, or have been given not so much opportunity as I've been offered. So that was a nice way that I related with a lot of people. Um, and then when I moved down here, it was like everyone was just like me, and everyone was pretty much like, in my head, everyone's riding a jet ski. Like everyone's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Come on, let's party." And it was like, okay. And so it honestly, after like 2 weeks of being here, it was just like being presented it as if it was like it was middle of February and it's 78 degrees. People are paddleboarding. You're right downtown in the city. Everywhere's a patio with live music,
Yeah.
and it was just way too much like feel good. Oh man, I remember this. Like when I was in Amish country, Pennsylvania, there was none of that. It was like, hey, you want to go hit that tree with a shovel? Like, do I? And then I come down here, and it was just like, oh wow, no one has a drink. Like you're high up in a tech company, and you drink every day, huh? You're successful. So I was just like presented it as if it's not this bad thing. It's like
Yeah.
this like cultured thing, and like everyone has their shit together. And if you go a little too much, that's no big deal. Tomorrow we'll make up for it in the office. It's kind of like this weird culture of like of pro kind of frat boy lifestyle down here.
Mm.
And for me to come straight, I tell people like the smartest thing I think I ever did was moving from Pennsylvania to Texas in the middle of winter, because it was amazing. It was 85 degrees. And then like the dumbest thing I ever did was moving straight from Amish Pennsylvania rehab to Party City. Like,
Tough,
it was
man.
like the dumb, I really should have found a buffer city. I should have like, stopped in Boise or something. uh, I think I should have. Yeah, it would have behooved me to have taken it a little slower, but I jumped right in.
Hmm.
And I tread water, yeah, for about 3 years, and relationships came and went. I had weekends where I didn't show up to work for like 3-4 days on end, and just crazy benders, and where luckily I've never been arrested for anything. It's all of my partying has been very self-deprecating. I don't get in fights. I just become pitiful, I
Yeah.
just become like up, like here I am now, present day. Back then, it's like I was this, and then I was this, and then I was a puddle, you know.
Yeah.
I just kind of look like a slop of a human to myself. Is how I look back at it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my last year of active drinking was 2020. So I moved downtown to be able to walk to bars, and then 3 days later, emergency broadcast on the TV, and the governor comes on, and it's like all bars are closing at 9 p.m. And it was like, well, not this bar, It's like, yep, every bar, get out. And so that was kind of like a moment where it's like, huh, kind of like a sign, like maybe it's time to switch gears. And then I continued drinking. My work closed down. For a little while, we were all furloughed. And
Mhm.
if you suddenly are making the same money you were making while working, but don't have to go to work, you just have money and time to drink.
Yes.
So it was really like, it was for, I think, most addicts that year. If you were blessed enough as an addict that year to keep getting money without going to work, it was insane. It literally was like we would go downtown, we would just take a case of beer and walk around downtown, because it was when things were so unknown that like police officers wouldn't approach you.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't see, like no one would check in on you. It was just like, okay, everyone's just like no law for a little while. And so everyone I knew was just like staying really drunk. And it was getting, when I came back home to visit back in North Carolina, and during that time, this is when my drinking was the worst it's ever been, where I'm not eating at all until about 11 o'clock at night was the first time I would eat.
Yeah.
Um, just you wake up and it's coming out of both ends, and it's just bright yellow bile. You
Mhm.
know, there's nothing you're processing. It is just your body saying like, please stop. and I kept at it for a good 6 months. And then a really close buddy of mine, he passed away from kind of a party lifestyle, and that was when I was like, give it till the end of the year. And so I literally like it's like I knew at the end of the I was like knew at the end of the year was when I was gonna quit, and I'm lucky enough that I like committed to that. But I wouldn't suggest that to anyone. um, but because it was like it was just pitiful that last like 4 or 5 months of me drinking. Within an hour and a half, I think my body was at a point where it wasn't even processing alcohol anymore. And so a couple drinks in, I'm already acting drunk,
Mm-hmm.
even though I have high tolerance. It's just I'm no longer being able to process it. My liver's overworked.
Yeah.
So that last 6 months made it really easy to quit drinking for me because it was like I'm not fun anymore. I'm not
Yeah.
Mr. Personality anymore. I'm not like flirting with people. I'm not buying drinks for anyone. No one's buying me drinks. People don't even want to be around me.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of became, just a self pity despair. And then I think that paired with just, waking up hungover. It's the worst feeling in the world. You don't feel it, and then suddenly you do. Like it literally, I didn't have hangovers for most of my 20s. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, once you do, you're like, other people feel this all the time. Why would you ever drink?
Yeah.
um, and so, like nowadays, it's I wouldn't trade like waking up hungover. Like waking up every day and feeling the same way. Picking up from where you left off is amazing. Like I'm in a 4-year relationship, and every single time I've spoken to her, we've been on the same level. She
Yeah.
doesn't drink. I don't drink. No nicotine, no caffeine, nothing. And so every single time we've spoken, we've been on the same level. I can't say that for anyone. I can't say that for you and I.
Yeah.
And so it's really awesome to be somewhere where there's people that I've started this new chapter with who only know this version of me, which I think for the day present is the best version of me, at least that I have to offer. I can't say much on like I think I'm very lucky in a lot of ways. I don't know how much spiritual growth I've had, but I think um, I've been able to at least be appreciative enough of the things that have worked out in my favor due to me putting away something that was slowly killing me, and taking away anything that I may have to offer the world. Which nowadays, with as busy as I keep with doing comedy and with being present at work and doing on the side the meeting people to sell artwork and stuff, it's kind of it's awesome that now I have something to offer people. I'm
Yeah.
not just the guy at the end of the bar chuckling to himself, and you know, kind of like the Anchorman scene where suddenly Will Ferrell's just making fart noises at the bar. I'm not that guy. You know, I'll write that role for someone, but I don't have to be that role anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hope that kind of answers the question. Sorry, I
Yep.
just kind of go on.
No, that's absolutely, man. Wonderful. Yeah, it's yeah, I think that regardless of how people get into it and how they get out of it, like you made a point earlier that I would like to just touch back on real quick before before the our cheap version of Zoom ends. But yeah, it's just really crazy how like we feel like we are just on an island, right? Whether it's in our addiction or even like in our recovery, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's really hard. Like I always think about like my social circle was really big when I started drinking, and it got really
Yeah,
small when I was drinking at the end, and then I
yeah,
got sober, and then my world got really small again because nobody wanted to associate with me because I wasn't that fucking guy anymore that was drinking.
yeah,
So my world got small again, and even in recovery it's isolating. But then yeah, you go to meetings, you start meeting people that like minded that they
yeah,
see, even if they're like a normie and they can go have a couple of drinks or something and be fine. They support the recovery, and like
yeah,
it's crazy how like our world undulates so much, but like at the end of it all, like where you and I are sitting right now, our world might not be like super big, but it's solid and it's quality over quantity, and the people we surround ourselves with support
yeah.
us, right? And I think that's just such an amazing, it, quite the roller coaster, like, but here we are. And I mean, I mean, it sounds like you're just doing amazing, and I'm so proud of that. And I know this is the best life
Yeah,
I've
likewise.
this is the best life I've been living, and it is because of my sobriety. So yeah, we got
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Like it's to me, it's insane that every single day we were stepping on like a rake and getting smacked in the face, and then
Yeah,
you quit stepping on it. like, I don't have to step on that rake anymore, you know? And like,
Yeah.
at first it isn't, at first it does suck. It does.
Yeah.
And then like, once you finally get over that hurdle though, you're like, I wouldn't trade any of this for anything,
Yeah.
you know?
Hey.
Like even just one relationship, even this conversation, we would never have been having this conversation. You would have called me yesterday, been like, "Hey man, let's try to do something tomorrow," and I would have said yes. I 100% was not accountable to anyone, and
Yeah.
that's a big part of becoming sober. Is like the more people you tell that you're sober, it's huge that you let as many people know as possible. Because the more people that are looking at you, the more people that you're like, okay, accountability is huge.
Yeah.
Um,
It is.
and it
It
was
is.
when you don't care about anything.
Yeah. And being accountable to yourself, being accountable to others, right? And I mean, yeah, like this is, I mean, and this is just so fantastic because I mean, I literally, for those of you listening, like I literally called you less than 24 hours ago and was like, "Hey, man, it's been a while. We
Right?
haven't seen each other in 13. We've only kind of like said what's up on Facebook, but like, you want to do this podcast with me? You want to like be vulnerable to the world?" You're like, "Hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude!" Like, man,
Well, all the jet ski guys don't hang out with me anymore, so I was like, sure, I'm not doing anything.
let me
No,
look at my
it worked
schedule.
out.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. um, Dude, well, certainly appreciate the story, your story, and everything that you're offering the world. And we got like just maybe like 2 minutes left here, so maybe like, what are some words to anybody out there that might be listening that's struggling to get sober? Maybe they're just sober curious. Maybe they're in sobriety early and they are like kind of, they just happen to stumble, upon this podcast and
Yeah.
what would be something that you would tell them to maybe give them some hope and some courage?
Final like message to anyone who's wanting to get sober is that for me it is the best thing that's ever happened. It's the beginning's not going to be easy. You do take advice from people. Like that's a big thing. Is they say like like again the people places things like sometimes you have to remove yourself. I had to go up to Pennsylvania. I had to leave all electricity behind. I had to be amongst the Amish folk. I really had to go to a place that was like nowhere I'd ever been, and that is what it took to reset. And then of course I came here, got um, knuckleheaded up again, but the things that I learned up there, and having knowing that there are people just like you all around the world, despite where they're from or what their walk of life has been. I can relate with people. I'm still friends with people up there who I would have never have spoken to in my life, just from never having crossed paths.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome how like we all are in both addiction and in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, like you were saying, it is very isolating, and it is very scary. Suddenly you're doing something you've never done, and you don't know, am I still going to be funny? Am I still going to be? Is my girlfriend going to? Am I gonna be good at my job? And it's like all the people that the people that are important will stay by your side. The people that don't,
Yeah.
they're going to keep. I know people who still to this day are doing the exact same thing that I left them. I walked out of the bar. They probably don't even know I'm not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sucks. And hopefully they'll come to before death or anything of that level. But I guess at the beginning it's going to be really difficult. But go online, find AA meetings. They're super helpful, and there's so many resources that are free and readily available. That's the craziest thing about an AA meeting is that it is free therapy. Like if there was something like that for adults in general that didn't have addiction issues, like workaholics or just a lot of different genres in life, it's such a great resource for anyone to walk in and suddenly realize, like, it's like when someone's in therapy and they say something out loud and like, until I said that out loud, I didn't realize how crazy that sounded. Imagine someone else in a room saying exactly what you're thinking
Yeah.
and realizing, I'm part of something bigger, and we all are. And it's I think just kind of letting down your guard, jumping in and looking for as many resources as you can, and just knowing that there are people who are on the other side of it who are happy to support. I think people would find. I felt super alone at the beginning, and it's awesome to know I'm not. And and again, just how easy life gets, because again, shit's gonna happen. Not everything's in your control. We used to live thinking everything was in our control, even though we were living out of control. And then to finally just be like, cool. Oh man, it's pouring rain and my shoes are soaking wet. And like today I got to work and I didn't have a belt and I'm running around work so busy holding up my pants. And it's like little things like that, no joke, would have been, I would have like turned to someone like, I'm gonna be drinking today. Like
Yeah.
it would have, things like that, littlest of things would have like made it where I would have just kept digging my hole deeper. And nowadays, like the smallest things like that, you're just like, I look like an idiot, and that's hysterical. When I leave here, I'm gonna put a belt on and know what I did tonight.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think just
I don't know.
taking back taking back that control and that power and putting it back into ourselves, because we just gave it away to the booze, right? I mean, we just let the
Yeah.
booze just control everything until it was just, I mean, for our situations like us, we were lucky enough to be able to, to get clean, get sober, and do something. But man, there's just, it's the amount of we willingly give away so much of ourselves to the drugs, to the alcohol, right, to the lifestyle, to the codependency, to the depression, to the anxiety, what and everything that comes together. Like, yeah, like really,
Mm-hmm.
there's very very few options, and most of the time it is prison, death, or or making it out. And I think just part of that is being able to get that control and back into ourselves, into our lives, and then being able to then disperse it to those who we want around us. Like, I have the control now to say, you don't support me, I'm sorry, I'll see you later, or you support me, I welcome you into my life and thank you for being here. Like, because it's just, it was,
It's
you
so
just said it, like, we're just totally out of control, right? So
it's so great being able to allow certain people in your circle these days.
yeah.
I don't have patience for like I've had people like you're a lot more this that when you were drunk. I don't talk to those people anymore.
Yeah.
Believe it or
Yeah.
not, anyone who's ever said that to me is still drinking every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel bad for them, but it's one of those things that it's just like when all of a sudden you like I don't put up with that anymore when people are negative towards my
Yeah.
my sobriety because again the people that matter would never bring you down for it
Yeah.
because they'll see through your actions that you've changed and that
Yeah.
you're easier to be around. You're present.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
if they don't want you present, then you guys shouldn't be in each other's lives to begin with.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and then all we could do is, at least this is like one of the purposes for why, we started. This is why I'm sober, is to share our stories, to hopefully reach out to somebody who out there who is like questioning whether it's even possible, and then if they can hear it from you, from myself, from Abby, from anybody that's like, oh my gosh, like I connect with what Aaron's saying today. I'm feeling exact so, but he did it. Like maybe I can too, and that could strengthen that commitment that you were talking about, like being committed to it. Like it's not I'm going to be sober, on Monday through Thursday. It's like if you have the same situation, the same issues that you and I had, like we once we started, we cannot stop. It's got to be all or
Yeah,
nothing, and that involves changing our environment, changing the way I think about ourselves, like holding ourselves accountable, being committed, all these things. And so, so just to kind of bring that all that full circle is like just you jumping on here today and sharing your story, and man, it's amazing, and you're spreading hope and you're spreading courage. And yeah, anybody that might stumble across this little old podcast and listen to your story today, our I just hope that it changes somebody's trajectory. Um, so
yeah,
thank you so much for doing this, man.
awesome. Thanks for reaching out. It's I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm excited that because you reached out. I imagine we'll be in each other's lives again, which is awesome.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
because even though we lived such a knucklehead life back then, you know, at the core we're both good people,
Yeah,
and so it's nice to like how that good shines through, and that
yes,
we can be present in each other's lives.
hell yeah, man.
So
Awesome. Well, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. As always, I always, ask everybody watching, like, subscribe, share, comment, please interact with us. We appreciate everything that you do for us and all the support. And Aaron, go ahead and you can share whatever you want to share about your whatever you do with your antiques and your and comedy. And yeah, I'm giving you permission for shameless plugs here, man.
all right,
All
let me plug them in. Let me get everything plugged in. Yeah, no, if if you want to see any of my creative side, I do. I have all my comedy. I make little short films, and then I do some stand up, and I've been on some bigger comedy show once or twice now, and clips of that are on my Instagram, which is based just solely for comedic videos. It's Beef Squeaks. That's the that's the name on Instagram. And then my antique side, which is me allowing people to read my my comedy without doing it on stage. It's just weird write-ups and descriptions of items, and then odd photography that I do, mainly of myself holding these items in odd costumes, making odd faces, and just really getting into character. That's going to be at ATX Vintiquities. That's that Instagram, and it's just two different sides. One is me on stage performing. The other one is you kind of hearing the inner voices that, even though I'm sober, I'm still crazy.
Aren't we all?
So
awesome. Well, right on, man. Again, thank you so much for jumping on today, being a guest host, like literally at the last minute, and sharing your story.
Back on,
yeah, I'm sure we'll have you back on very soon. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much. And again, that's Aaron West, comedian, antique model, art and antique seller at ATX Vintiquities and Beef Squeaks on Instagram. So, all right, buddy. Well, it's great to talk to you. You look great, and we'll be in touch soon. Okay.
You too.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for everybody for listening. This is why I'm sober, and have a wonderful day. We'll see you later. Bye.
See you guys. Thanks.